Welcome to our deep dive into the world of old school boxing, where fighters trained harder and fought tougher than most modern athletes can imagine. Forget the cliches you've heard 100 times. This video is not about the same old training stories like running 10 miles a day or hitting the heavy bag for endless hours. This is about the brutal, forgotten methods that forged champions. Have you ever wondered how legends like Jack Dempsey, who faced giants in the ring, managed to overcome overwhelming odds? On that hot summer day in Ohio, Dempsey squared off against Jess Willard, an intimidating 6'6" giant who weighed a staggering 245 pounds. Can you picture the scene? Dempsey, though skilled and resilient, seemed dwarfed by Willard's massive frame. But size isn't everything, as Dempsey would soon show. The explosive power and speed he possessed allowed him to dominate, even when he looked like an underdog. What's the secret behind this raw strength? That's exactly what we're uncovering today. We'll explore how ancient practices like wrestling and even chopping wood played a vital role in building not only strength but also resilience and mental toughness. Are today's fighters missing out by not embracing these challenging methods? As we pull back the curtain on these forgotten techniques and unveil the true nature of old-school training, you might just find yourself questioning what you thought you knew about boxing preparation. Jack Dempsey faces a giant. On a scorching day in Ohio, Jack Dempsey, the reigning heavyweight champion, stood across the ring from Jess Willard, a towering figure who seemed to defy the laws of nature. Willard, at 6'6", weighed a staggering 245 pounds, making him a colossal opponent. In stark contrast, Dempsey, though slightly over 6 feet tall, tipped the scales at just 187 pounds. As Dempsey glanced at Willard, a mix of determination and apprehension washed over him. This wasn't just a fight. It was a monumental clash between two extremes, a battle of size versus agility, where raw power met strategy. Dempsey knew he had to rely on more than sheer strength. His speed and explosive power would be his greatest allies. As the bell rang, it was clear he wasn't intimidated by Willard's size. The first few rounds became a display of Dempsey's incredible skill and tenacity. He moved with finesse, landing punches that sent the giant crashing to the canvas with staggering frequency. Each blow from Dempsey was a testament to his training, his grit, and an unwavering will to win. The crowd roared as Dempsey unleashed combination after combination, overwhelming Willard in a way few could have anticipated. It was a display of resilience, where survival meant wearing down a man who seemed invincible. By the fourth round, Willard was battered and unable to continue, proving that size wasn't everything. Dempsey's skill, speed, and relentless spirit ultimately triumphed over Willard's towering frame. The battle of strength and explosion. In the sweltering heat of Ohio, during a fateful afternoon, Jack Dempsey faced off against the formidable Jess Willard, a giant in the ring, standing an imposing 6'6" tall and weighing 245 pounds. Dempsey, in stark contrast, was slightly over 6 feet and weighed only 187 pounds. Despite the daunting size difference, Dempsey had one crucial advantage: his explosive power, a force that would shake the boxing world to its core. The bell rang, and from the moment the fight began, Dempsey unleashed this power, demonstrating that raw strength could overwhelm a towering opponent. With remarkable speed and agility, he darted forward, delivering a series of devastating blows, sending Willard crashing to the canvas multiple times within the first round, showcasing his unparalleled ability to generate explosive force. Dempsey's explosive movement and striking precision left spectators in awe. Each punch he threw was not merely a display of brute strength. It was a calculated explosion of energy that utilized his weight, momentum, and technique. By the third round, Willard was visibly weakened, unable to withstand the barrage of punches. The decisive moment of the fight came when Dempsey's relentless aggression proved too much for Willard, ultimately leading to a technical knockout. In that ring, explosive power triumphed over size, and Dempsey's legacy as a champion was solidified in history. This battle illustrated how agility and explosive strength, combined, can turn the tides in even the most daunting of matchups, reaffirming the belief that in boxing, speed and power are vital components of victory. Old school boxers and wrestling roots. Old school boxers were not just legends in the sport of boxing. They were also masters of wrestling, which played a crucial role in their training. Grappling and wrestling were essential components of their regimen, providing real-world strength and incredible toughness that translated directly into the boxing ring. Fighters like Jack Dempsey demonstrated how wrestling techniques could be used to maintain control during clinches, allowing them to execute devastating punches while exhausting their opponents. In an era where fighters trained tirelessly to perfect their craft, grappling ensured they had the grip strength and endurance needed to dominate in close quarters. This holistic approach to training allowed them to absorb punishment and keep fighting, while modern boxers often focus on isolated strength training. They utilize machines and specific workouts, missing out on the foundational benefits that wrestling provided, which included stamina, core strength, and overall physicality. Grappling built durability, making old-school fighters incredibly tough. Their necks, backs, and cores were conditioned through continuous physical resistance against other human bodies, not synthetic weights. The early boxing champions understood that real strength derived from grappling and wrestling, which were intricately woven into the fabric of their training. It wasn't merely about perfecting the punch. It was about being the complete fighter. The lessons from wrestling provided them with the tools to control and outlast their opponents, ensuring that when it came down to grit and determination, they were prepared to go the distance. Their methods fostered a resilience that modern training regimens have often overlooked, highlighting the importance of these old-school techniques. Grappling, the overlooked secret weapon. In the world of boxing, grappling is often dismissed as merely a supplementary skill, overshadowed by the emphasis on striking ability. However, grappling acts as the overlooked secret weapon for fighters, providing a comprehensive toolkit for controlling opponents, disrupting their rhythm, and maintaining dominance. Old-school boxers understood that engaging in grappling techniques not only improved their strength, but also developed their ability to impose while during bouts. When the fight moves to close quarters, grappling becomes crucial. It allows a fighter to clinch, maneuver, and outlast opponents, creating openings for powerful punches and strategic escapes. Even legendary fighters like Jack Dempsey and Rocky Marciano recognize the importance of incorporating wrestling-style techniques into their training. This not only built grip strength, but also enhanced overall stamina and durability. Grapplers are capable of dictating the flow of a fight, making every exchange more dynamic and unpredictable. Moreover, grappling fosters resilience by subjecting fighters to various physical challenges, strengthening their necks, cores, and conditioning. This resilience is vital during grueling matchups, where fatigue can compromise performance. The pressures of grappling enhance a fighter's mental toughness, ensuring they remain focused and tactical in the face of adversity. As modern boxing evolves, many athletes have shifted away from grappling, opting instead for isolated strength training. This trend leaves them vulnerable in the clinch, where control and positioning can make all the difference. It's essential to recognize that grappling isn't just about wrestling. It's about building an all-encompassing approach to the fight game, one that intertwines strength, strategy, and resilience, giving fighters an edge that can be decisive in crucial moments. Wrestling builds real-world strength and durability. Wrestling is an intense sport that requires grappling, pushing, and pulling, which builds incredible strength and durability. Unlike traditional weightlifting, where movements can often be isolated, wrestling incorporates many different muscle groups working together, enhancing functional strength. This full-body engagement forces wrestlers to develop strong cores while also conditioning their necks, backs, and arms to absorb significant amounts of pressure and punishment. Moreover, the constant physical contact creates tough competitors who are not only strong, but also have superior endurance, making them formidable in the ring. Training in wrestling requires athletes to push through fatigue, fostering mental toughness alongside physical resilience. Unlike modern training methods that often rely on machines, wrestling relies on real-world physicality. The essence of wrestling training comes from grappling with opponents, which instills a sense of closeness in combat that is invaluable. In a clinch situation, such strength becomes essential, as controlling an opponent can dictate the flow of action in a match. The techniques learned on the mat carry over to boxing and mixed martial arts, where the ability to dictate pace and position is crucial. Additionally, wrestling helps to develop grip strength, which is vital for holding onto an opponent or breaking free from a clinch. It fosters a unique strength that is often overlooked in traditional training paradigms. In essence, wrestling builds a fighter's ability to withstand the rigors of prolonged combat while enhancing their explosive power, resiliency, and tactical prowess. By training in this grappling-based environment, athletes are better prepared for the unpredictable nature of real fights. The power of chopping wood. Chopping wood isn't simply a chore. It's an ancient practice that holds immense power, both literally and metaphorically. When a fighter swings an axe, they're not just cutting through logs. They're forging strength, building explosive power, and conditioning their entire body. This relentless exercise mimics the mechanics of delivering devastating punches in the ring, engaging the core, legs, and upper body in perfect unison. Each swing requires focus, timing, and precision, elements that directly translate to effective striking in boxing. Additionally, the act of chopping wood develops grip strength, enhancing a fighter's ability to control their opponent during a match. An axe requires a firm grip, and, just like in boxing, that control can make the difference between winning and losing. Moreover, the mental fortitude gained from hours spent chopping can't be underestimated. It teaches perseverance and discipline, invaluable traits for any athlete. Picture a young boxer swinging an axe for hours, honing not just his physical strength, but also his mental resolve. The repetitive motion builds muscle memory, which translates into a sharper, quicker punch. The dynamic nature of chopping wood forces fighters to generate power from the ground up, utilizing explosive hip rotation and total body coordination. Over time, this kind of training creates an unshakable foundation. The repeated impact toughens hands, conditions grip, and builds endurance, all crucial for surviving the grueling demands of a boxing match. In essence, chopping wood is more than just physical labor. It's a holistic training method that develops the complete fighter, instilling strength, resilience, and a champion spirit. How great champions use these methods. Great champions, like Jack Dempsey and Rocky Marciano, incorporated rigorous, unorthodox training methods that differentiated them from their competitors. Dempsey, known as the Manassa Mauler, relied heavily on his wrestling background, which allowed him to develop incredible grip strength and explosive power. This foundation provided him with the ability to control opponents in the clinch and unleash devastating hooks and uppercuts that could turn the tide of a fight in an instant. His training regimen, rooted in real-world physicality, transformed his body into a finely tuned fighting machine, capable of enduring the grueling demands of the boxing ring. Similarly, Rocky Marciano, famed for his relentless pressure and high-volume punching style, engaged in intense wood-chopping sessions. This unusual yet effective method built not only his physical strength, but also his mental toughness. Swinging an axe for hours developed powerful shoulder and forearm muscles, creating a punch that could wear down even the toughest adversaries. His trainer, Charlie Goldman, once stated that Marciano's workouts made the fights feel easier. This relentless training regimen meant that Marciano could maintain pressure on his opponents, breaking them down round by round. The common element among these champions was their understanding that traditional weightlifting and modern gym routines didn't replicate the reality of fighting. They embraced hard manual labor, such as wood chopping, and combined it with wrestling techniques to enhance their physical capabilities. These training methods strengthened not just their punches, but also their resolve, making them formidable forces in the ring. The forgotten truth about modern training. In today's fast-paced world, a disturbing trend has emerged in the realm of fitness training. Many athletes and fitness enthusiasts have turned to modern methods that prioritize convenience over tradition, striving for quick results rather than focusing on the time-tested techniques of the past. This shift has led to the neglect of various key aspects, essential for building genuine strength and endurance. For example, years ago, boxers understood the importance of manual labor, grappling, and even wood chopping in their training regimens. These methods, while demanding, forged resilience that produced champions who could withstand prolonged bouts, enduring relentless punishment without faltering. However, modern fighters have gravitated towards gym machines, resistance bands, and isolated exercises that might look appealing on the surface. Yet, such shortcuts fail to replicate the physical and mental demands of an actual fight, creating athletes who struggle to maintain their stamina, especially in high-pressure situations. Unlike iconic fighters like Jack Dempsey and Rocky Marciano, who honed their skills through real-world strength training and vigorous conditioning, today's fighters often rely on synthetic methods, diminishing their natural ability to control an opponent in the clinch. This disconnect between training and actual combat has significant implications. The true essence of boxing lies not in how much you can lift in a gym, but in how effectively you can apply your strength and skill in real-life scenarios. Sadly, as modern training continues to overshadow the legacy of old-school techniques, the sport risks losing its authenticity, along with the gritty determination that shaped its greatest legends. In conclusion, the journey through old-school boxing training reveals much more than just physical conditioning. It showcases the unparalleled grit, determination, and raw power that these legendary fighters possessed. From Jack Dempsey's explosive victories to the grueling methods of chopping wood, these warriors built their strength through hard work and relentless effort. Honor and discipline shaped every punch and every clinch. Modern fighters, while talented, often overlook the foundational practices that forged champions in the past, practices that emphasized real-world strength and grappling skills developed through manual labor. This emphasis on natural, functional strength over machine-based training has become a lost art. The element of wrestling, so critical in the training of past fighters, allowed them to control their opponents and dictate the flow of the match, demonstrating that mastery in the ring often came from a blend of endurance, technique, and sheer willpower. As we reflect on these historic training methods, we also begin to question if today's fighters would survive such brutal training regimens. Would they possess the same resilience, or has comfort diluted the essence of a true warrior? The answer lies in understanding the roots of boxing, the relentless spirit of the fighters who came before, and how that legacy can inspire a new generation. Embracing these principles might just be the key to unlocking the next wave of champions, those ready to push boundaries, endure challenges, and bring back the essence of what it truly means to be a fighter.